Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Farida Adzkia with last number is 07. So I make this video for English debate midterm test and I will position myself in the government and opposition side. So this debate motion is, this house would let the government fully own and manage all public transportation in Indonesia. And in this first video, I will position myself in the government side. Dear jury, chairman of the board, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The motion we are discussing today is, this house would let the government fully own and manage all public transportation in Indonesia. As a government side, I strongly support the full ownership and management of public transportation by the Indonesian government. I will prove that this policy will improve access, quality, and sustainability of public transportation and provide significant economic and social benefit for all Indonesians. I define public transportation as all transportation services that serve the general public, including bus, trams, city shuttles, ferries, and other mass transit systems. Fully owned and managed means that the government has full control over asset ownership, operation, planning, and regulation of public transportation throughout Indonesia. Indonesia currently applies a mixed system where public transportation is partly managed by state-owned enterprise like Damri or KAI, partly by the private sector, and partly in the form of public-private partnerships. Here I will provide some argument that will support the motion. The first argument is equity of access and service. Fully government-run public transportation will ensure equity of service to all parts of Indonesia, not just commercially profitable areas, with example of this being. First is addressing regional disparities. The private sector tends to focus on profitable routes which create transportation deserts in remote areas. BPS data also show that 60% of the transportation network is concentrated in Java and Sumatra, which leaves limited access in eastern Indonesia. The government can also subsidize vital but less profitable routes to support national connectivity. Second, inclusive service for all. Transportation is used as a basic need, not an inclusive commodity. The government can also ensure infrastructure that is friendly to the disabled and elderly. Subsidize for policy for student, elderly, and low-income people. Third is alignment with nation development policy. Public transportation as a catalyst for the development of the new economic areas. Support transmigration and population distribution programs. Open access to isolated areas which will improve the quality of life of local communities. The second argument is about system integration for efficiency and convenience. Full government ownership allows for comprehensive transportation system integration with first multimodal integrated system, integration of scheduled routes and fares between modes of transportation, one ticketing system for the entire journey which will reduce passenger hassle, easy transit between modes like train to bus, bus to boat. Second, long-term holistic planning, aligning transportation development with national spatial plans, coordinated and sustainability infrastructure investment. Elimination of overlapping routes and unfair competition among operators. Third is national service standardization. Consistent application of safety, security, and comfort standard. Integrated information system that facilitates travel planning. Benefit training for all public transportation operators. A successful example of this argument is that the integrated MRT and Transjakarta system in Jakarta has increased the number of public transportation users by 45% in the last 5 years and reduced congestion by 30%. The third argument is about environmental and energy sustainability. Public transportation under government control can more effectively address the environmental and energy crisis as with transitions to green fleets, systematic investment in electric and hydrogen fleets, ability to make large initial investment with long-term returns, development of supporting infrastructure like charging stations on a national scale. Second is reducing carbon emissions. Transportation accounts for 28% of greenhouse gas emissions in Indonesia, and if efficient public transportation system can reduce the use of private vehicles. Third is about national energy efficiency, such as reduce dependence on imported fossil fuels, saving foreign exchange from fuel import, support national renewable energy programs. Here I will present some possible rebuttal scenarios to each argument. The first is part against the argument of bureaucratic inefficiency. The government can implement a professional management model like Singapore's SMRT or Hong Kong MTR. Transparency and public accountability can be improved through digitalization. Second, against the argument of lack of innovation, the government can establish a national transportation research and innovation center, cooperation with university and local startup in technology development. The third, against the fiscal burden argument, high initial investment will result in long-term savings, innovative funding models such as green bonds and carbon credits, operational efficiency from national economic of scale. So you are not considering the benefits in terms of equitability, access, system integration, environmental sustainability, and positive economic impact. It is clear that full government ownership and management of public transportation is the right move for Indonesia. This is not just about transportation, but about social justice, sustainability, development, and a better future for our Indonesians. Thank you. So in the second video, I will position myself in the opposite side. Deputy Chairman of the Board, and ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The motion we are considering today is this House would let the government fully own and manage all public transportation in Indonesia. As the opposition side strongly oppose full ownership and management of public transportation by the government, I will prove that this policy will create systemic inefficiencies, stifle innovation, burden state finances, and ultimately harm the very people Indonesia is supposed to serve. I will give some argument that why I oppose this motion. So the first argument is about bureaucratic and governance inefficiencies. A government monopoly on public transportation will create systemic inefficiencies that harm the public, like first track record of SUE transportation. The financial performance of existing SUE transportation shows operational inefficiencies. PT Damri recorded a loss of 75 billion rupiah in 2022 despite receiving subsidies. Some regional railways, SUE, still require large subsidies for operation. Obstructive bureaucracy, source and layered decision-making process. Political interference in operational decisions. Red tape, phenomenon that inhibits responsiveness to market needs. Third is low performance accountability. Absence of competitive pressures to improve services. Reliance of subsidies. Reduce efficiency incentives. Failure of reward and punishment mechanism in the bureaucracy. Case in point, the Jabodetabek LRT project experienced a delay of almost 5 years and cost overruns from 27 trillion rupiah to 31 trillion rupiah due to management inefficiencies. The second argument is about stifling innovation and quality improvement. A government monopoly will stifle the very innovation that Indonesia's transportation sector needs, such as first lack of competitive pressure. Healthy competition promotes improved service and efficiency. Stagnation of innovation in a monopolistic environment. Slow adoption of new technologies and best practices. Private sector innovation at risk, like app-based transportation has revolutionized urban mobility. Innovative business models such as ride-sharing and on-demand transportation. Flexibility in responding to changing demand patterns. Third is about barriers to creative solutions. International experience shows the best transportation solutions often emerge from public-private partnership. Local transportation startups are at risk of not growing. Brain drain of transportation innovations to countries with more conducive ecosystem. The third argument is about fiscal burden and economic implications. This policy will create a fiscal burden and negative economic implications, like massive acquisitions and operational costs. The purpose of all private transportation assets requires a budget of trillions of rupiah, long-term infrastructure maintenance and modernization costs, investment to integrate disparate system. Second is about impact on other budget priorities. Diversion of funds from priority sectors such as education and health, potentially increase in public debt to finance acquisition. Fiscal risk due to large ongoing subsidies. Third is about loss of tax revenue and jobs, reduced tax base from private transportation companies, potential mass layoff in the transition to a governance system, impact on supporting industries and transportation supply chain. And the statistics show that Indonesia's state budget is already burdened with fuel and energy subsidies of around 125 trillion per year. A monopoly on public transportation is expected to increase the subsidy burden by up to 75 trillion per year. So the possible rebuttals are: first, against the access equity argument, cross-subsidy and the public services obligations model can be applied to private operators. Government can provide fiscal incentive for services in the remote areas. Technology can solve the problem with efficient alternative transportation solutions. Second, against the system integration argument. Integration can be achieved through shared standards and platform without single ownership. Singapore and London achieve seamless integration with multi-part operators. Digital technology enables integration without consolidation of ownership. Third is part against the environmental sustainability argument. Incentives and regulation can encourage the use of green vehicles. Competition accelerates green technology innovation. Government command and control of process are often lower than market incentives. So, Your Honor, considering the bureaucratic inefficiencies, barriers to innovation, heavy fiscal burden, and successful experience of alternative models in various countries, I reiterate that Indonesia should reject a government monopoly on public transportation. Indonesia's transport future lies in a smart partnership between the public and private sectors, not in total centralization that refers to the economic models of the past. Thank you.